Hey, this is Mike Flair, and bingo, you're watching CTM Sports. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and continue watching. Bottom line, bingo. Welcome back, everybody, to CTM Sports, where I go find a couple of topics and I give my take on those topics. And thanks for watching. Thanks for hitting the like and subscribe button. Keep watching. Trying to make content around my work schedule because I work as well in IT. But with that being said, please watch our other podcast, the Thinking Game podcast, where we talk about topics as far as being an adult, and we get some takes off the internet sometimes, and let us know what you think about that. We also on Spotify. Thinking Game podcast is on Spotify as well. Make sure to go check that out. I gotta try to upload these episodes to Spotify as well, but they'll be on there pretty soon as well. So, our first topic is players are concerned with Eric Bieniemy's intensity. So my question to that is, have the players of today mentality changed? Have the players of today mentality changed? There was a time, I think when I was a teen, I'm 40, but when I was a teen, coaches would drive into you. They would, some coaches would cuss you out. Some of them, they're driving to you and they try to that's their way of getting the best out of you in practice. It wasn't PC. It wasn't kumbaya practices. It was get out there, bring your lunch pail to work. I mean, to practice, and let's get ready to work. I think today, a generation probably after mine, maybe coaching kind of changed because of laws and social media and sensitivity to those things now. But I guess back then it was a little more desensitized, and but the thing is, the players, we really didn't go back and make it like we was being abused either. Matter of fact, we used to joke about it, like different coach voices and stuff like that. And we deal with that here in a little bit. Is has this style of coaching phased out? That's the question. A lot of times now, players will report their coaches, or they're saying, it's mental abuse, my mental health. I get the mental health part of it, but when that coach's job is on the line and they start getting intense, um, this is what you kind of get sometimes, especially in the beginning of the season. Um, you look at it from both sides of the fence. You got the coach that's trying to get them prepared. Then you got the players who are trying to come in from being on vacation and get ready to play a season. And every player is different, but there's a general thing. But trying to get everybody back in shape sometimes is the hardest thing because you got some players that want to play and they're gonna get back in shape. Then you got some that have to be motivated to get back in shape or motivated to get that intensity back because it's hard to turn it on and turn it off as you get older. Some people turn it on, they break the switch. Some people they know how to turn it on and off. But as you get older, turning that switch on and off is it get a little delayed sometimes. So I have in my question: do coaches have the same respect that are intense and coaches that are player coaches? Like, what's the respect level? It depends on the coach. There are some coaches that are like high intensity and players respect them. And there are player coaches, well, sometimes they give respect, but most times, sometimes they can be partial to the players that they picked. But the walk-ons and things of that nature may not get the same kind of treatment than the players that were recruited or the player that the coaches picked to be on their team. So, but the respect definitely varies. Just depends on the players and the culture that's been set. And in my opinion, I never played in the NFL. When I watched NFL over the years since I've been a kid, like what makes a good NFL coach? You think about like Jimmy Johnson, Don Shula, Bill Walsh, Bill Belichick. All these guys have different personalities, but there's a general thing across the board though. They may be like a little laid back, but they have an expectation that's set. and that can be the difference. The players know what to expect, and if they don't meet those expectations, they'll be dealt with. Bill Belichick is a perfect example. He will trade you in a heartbeat if you don't do it the Patriot way. He'll make sure that you get up out of there. Bill Walsh didn't play with the West Coast offense. Um, you think about Jimmy Johnson with the Cowboys. He didn't play. He was he told the guys, you as long as your production and tolerance, your production is more than your antics, you can be tolerated. But if your antics are more than your production, they won't be tolerated. But shout out to the coaches, man, NFL coaches. And here's a nugget. It don't matter how good the team is. If there's not a good strategy in place, you won't win. You got to have a good strategy. Whether it's defense, you got a good defensive unit, but what's your defensive scheme? Does it fit your personnel? What about offense? You got a good offensive team, but does the offense or the coach's philosophy fit their personnel? So that's something to think about. So my second one is, man, they hating on Prime already before the college football season even started. It's crazy. There was an Oregon coach, maybe some other coach. They had their little sly remarks and their little side subliminal disses. But here's what I see him doing as a person who's watching from the outside looking in. He's changing the game on what coaches and college football teams can do to market their program. With him having that social media aspect to his program, he's setting his own narrative and he's giving you the behind the scenes look of what he's doing. So it can't be no question because you see what he's doing. Open book. You see the players responding. You see the players putting in the work and practice. He controls what's being seen, and then it can't be a lot of leaks and a bunch of speculation because he has his own social media team putting that stuff out. So everything's under control and everything is being moderated by their team instead of it getting leaked by a source or something like that. So before we get off this one, is the next one is college teams going to have a social media team now? I think if they can afford it, it'd be their best interest because what he did with the social media with a well off media, shout out to his son and Dion Jr. Um, they have opened up that behind the scenes look of what college football is like for an athlete. And most athletes don't, when you're in high school, you don't understand the magnitude of what you're walking into as far as going to a college campus that big and your everyday kind of tasks that you have to do. Becoming that adult now. It's a lot. It's not easy as it looks. And you think about regular people, the adult life when you graduate high school, as far as maintaining, going to work, making sure you eat right, stay on top of your health, making sure your bills taken care of. Even in college, they have to do those things too. You got to manage. If you got an NIL deal, you got to manage that. What if you got an endorsement deal? You got to manage that. You got to eat. Make sure you eat. You got to manage your homework at school. So you got to manage all that at the same time. Have find that balance. So, but shout out to Dion. Shout out to Coach Prime, man, and having that social media aspect. Because I watched it, and pretty cool, man, having that behind the scenes. You don't see that with a lot of colleges, but I think they're gonna start a trend though. So NFL again. Sean Payton is changing the culture at the Denver Broncos. These are his rules for the preseason. Uniforms must be taken off after you're done playing. No sunglasses, no bucket hats, no interviews during the game. Um, you really can't complain when you bring in a new coach and he changed the culture because the thing is why did they have to bring in a new coach in the first place? If you would have won last year, you probably wouldn't have to deal with this. But when you lose and they bring in a new coach, he's going to bring in his culture and ideas. It's just kind of how it works. Even in the regular world, you get a new manager, new CEO, a new manager, they're going to bring in their ideas and whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. But they're the manager. They running the ship, and that's their rules, whether you like it or not. You know what I'm saying? So in IT, it happens a lot. You get a new manager. This is what it is. You're lucky to get a cool manager. Not everybody has that luxury. And then some places you go to, there be rules like this. You can't, do this at your desk. You can't get up for this long. You go to the bathroom, you only got so many minutes. It's just a lot of little micromanaging stuff. But sometimes that's a culture that you're in. You know what I'm saying? And the thing to think about is, what if they win? It only sucks when you're not winning. So there's something to think about. And I think this is my last one. Does culture make a difference? Think about that. Does culture in the locker room, culture at home, culture at work, culture with your friends, does that make a difference or impact on a person's life? And the answer is, it does. Yes, it does. Does culture make great habits? It does. Let's say if you have a coach who's meticulous about working out and strength and conditioning, and he have you doing certain stuff each day. You build up those habits and you start seeing the gains and the progress from that. You'll almost start doing it on your own as well because you see the improvement in the gains that it have. Now, the other side of the fence is you can have coaches that influence bad habits. They don't really put an emphasis on working out. They're more practice, or they don't really enforce the rules. They give you the rules, they're not really enforced. They kind of laxed on rules. Some players can handle that, some players can't handle being in a laxed situation. It's all about the individual being honest about themselves. But with that being said, let me know in the comments, do you think culture makes a difference? Or do you think that um, culture is not really a factor in a person's life and a person's success? Because you be thinking about all the winning teams that won a Super Bowl. Look at their culture. What's their culture like in the locker room? What's their culture like staying in shape? What's their culture like? Gelling together, team chemistry. You know what I'm saying? So, and my last one is: does the coach's voice make a difference? You think about Bieniemy. He probably cussing them out. Hey, what you doing? I know we had a football coach. His name was Coach Gunn. He had like a really high pitched voice. So man, he was very from because I played basketball, but my brother played football. He would definitely have them working and doing stuff. But his voice was so funny. It's almost like they didn't have like 100% respect, maybe like 70, 80%. But it's just pretty crazy because he always had his, "Hey son, what are you doing, son?" Had that high pitched voice. Uh, Nick, Nick, Nick Pettis, what are you doing? And when you sometimes voice makes a difference. And sometimes it's the person that's in the authority makes a difference, like the things that the coaches do. I know I had Coach West as a basketball coach, and man, that dude had us doing. If you get out of line, he'd make you run alpines. One time he had us do an Indian run. I don't know if it's called that. That's what he called it, but he had us go on the track because we was just like off that day. It was real. We was running slow. Everybody was kind of tired. He told us to go on the track. He made all of us line up, run around the track, and whoever was in the front, whoever was in the back had to run all the way to the front. And the thing that's crazy is, what if it's 12 of y'all and the person that's in the back, you have to run all the way up in front of 12 people running at a pace. And if you don't do it, you gotta keep running around the track until everybody kind of the person that's first has to be the last person. So some coaches have those creative drills, man. They just know how to psychologically put you in a place that you don't want to mess up because you don't feel like doing alpines and doing all kind of other stuff. So, and then there's some coaches who they drive you. They psychologically mess you by getting in your head. What you doing, son? Come on, man, get it together. Let's go. And some of the stuff I can't even repeat because I don't want to cuss on the mic, but definitely coaches will get into you and tear into you a little bit. But You have to have a tough skin when you in sports. You do have to have a tough skin. You have to be able to take it in stride and not let it affect you, not let it take you off your goal. And I always say, don't let anybody get in between you and your success. And a coach that's intense, getting in your head, and cussing at you, don't let that get between you and your success. Be emotionally intelligent. That's what I would say. So this is Mike. I'm signing out. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Appreciate the likes. Let me know in the comments what you think. And I am signing out.
Hey, this is Mike Flair, and bingo, you're watching CTM Sports. Hit the like button,